My dad passed away 3 years ago. I missed his last days and I didn't make it to his funeral. A very close friend of mine came to sit with me and talk to me. And I believe she has saved my sanity that time. At some point she asked me, "Tell me about your dad. Tell me what a person he was." What do I say? Where do I find words? How do I explain what my father was like to someone who is very close to me, but who has a completely different background, lives in a different country, speaks a different language? You know, Kitty, I'll tell you a story. When I was 20 years old, I came back to my parents' house to live with my dad for the whole year. My mom was away taking care of some family business. My sister got married and moved out. So it had been decided that I would come back, keep my father company, and take care of him. It was a quality time here for both of us, and I enjoyed every single day of it. Part of the routine was cooking, a lot of cooking from scratch. It was in the tradition of that country, of our family, of that time maybe. I'm not a good cook, believe me. But my dad was so appreciative all the time that eventually I started feeling like one. That day, I made a classic Ukrainian dish, stuffed green pepper, rich and flavored. When my dad came home from work, I went out into the hall to greet him as usual. And to my surprise, I noticed that he was somewhat confused, which wasn't like my always very confident father. "Are you all right?" "Sure, just tired. A tough day, you know." "Okay." Usually, he would tell me more about his day, ask about mine, but not that time. We had a short dinner, and he retired to his room. I was worried. So when my mother called later that day, I shared my concern with her. She got worried too. "Did he eat at all?" "Yes, he did. I made some stuffed pepper, and he ate a large one, and then some extra when I insisted." There was silence. "He ate what?" "Pepper. You know, green pepper, rice, beef." "This cannot be true. You're kidding me." "No, I'm not. Why?" "You know, you better forget about it, and I'll explain it to you later when I'm home." Of course, there was an explanation. In 1950s, my father was in Air Force in Soviet Union. During a test flight, their plane crashed. It was winter. Somewhere very high above the Arctic Circle, on an island, desert island, sealed in by ice. Think about it. Cold and dark polar night. No sun, day in, day out. Howling wind, gale force wind, wind so strong that you cannot breathe in. And frost, constant frost, biting to your bones. They didn't have any means of communication. Or maybe they were not allowed to use them. So their chances for survival very, very low. Or I should say, would be very low, if not for one thing. They had food. Plenty of food to help him last until search team would find them. Cans, many cans of stuffed green pepper. Rich and flavored. Nothing else. They survived. And the search team found them about 2 weeks later. Eventually, my father met my mother. They got married, had family together, and lived a long, diverse, and I hope a happy life. And of course, my dad shared with my mom why he couldn't stand the smell, the look, the very thought of green pepper, not mentioning its taste. In his entire life, he has never, ever eaten it again. Never, ever again, except for that time when he did it for his silly daughter. It was probably the first time in my life when I really reflected on what the love is about. So many years later, I'm still deciphering the recipe of it, left to me by my dad.